Hi, I'm Chef Owen, and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Ask the Chef. Today, our question comes from Jane, one of our Facebook friends. And Jane says that everyone knows about tilapia, salmon, and cod, but she asks, what are some other species that are available that are not too common? And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I want to show you first one of my favorite species that actually gets a bad name, and that's bluefish. Bluefish is found here on the East Coast, anywhere from North Carolina all the way up to Nova Scotia. And it is actually a beautiful fish. You see the body, similar to salmon in its shape and body conformation, and similar in its oil content too. But the great thing about bluefish is that at the early of the season, you can't find a better fish. Now, when I say at the early of the season, because it hasn't spawned yet. Once an animal spawns, the texture of the flesh really goes south, and it's not too pleasing. It gets muddy and pasty and almost gray. But at the beginning of the season, its nice light pink color really has a great flavor. Now, bluefish was often a bycatch of people fishing for striped bass, so it's often thrown out and, like I said, underutilized. But give this fish a chance. Most popularly, it's filleted, and it's great broiled, fried, sautéed, or even baked. But one thing is, the big fish, when they get really big, a lot of commercial places take it and smoke it, turn it into a smoked fish appetizer, which is really common up here on the East Coast. Now next I want to talk about another fish, and that's butterfish. Now butterfish exists on the East Coast, but there's a similar species on the West Coast called pompano. Now it's a small silvery fish, as you can see here, and they really don't grow that big. About 12 inches is as large as they get. So because of the small size, I like to keep it whole. If you keep it whole, you can bake it, you can broil it, or you can even pan fry it. But if you do fillet fish and you fillet the butterfish, you're going to want to stick to pan frying or sautéing, because the meat of the fish is very, very flaky and light. Although it's dark when it's in the raw state, it does cook up to a great opaque color. And now last fish we're going to talk about is monkfish. Now monkfish is one of the ugliest fish out there. It's also referred to as goosefish, and it's also called anglerfish. But a great thing about it, it's also called poor man's lobster here on the East Coast. And the reason why is that once that it's skinned and filleted off the bone, the meat actually looks like a lobster tail, and it has a really sweet flavor to it, similar to lobster and scallops. Now I said that they take the tail off of it, and that's really the only edible part. You can eat the cheeks and the liver, but for a meaty fish, the tail is the only thing that produces any kind of edible meat on it. These two are located on the East Coast, anywhere from the Great Banks all the way down to South Carolina. They're really a steaky fish. The texture is similar to lobster as well, so the best way to prepare it is to cut it into thin medallions. It's great broiled, it's great sautéed, pan-fried, or even baked. Now I want to thank Jane for asking this great question, and as always, you keep asking, I'll keep cooking.